Well, when you're drafted first overall, you got pretty high expectations, and you crash the plane, and now you're back. Apparently, Baker Mayfield. I don't get it. This guy, he basically only plays well when he wants to. It seems like.
Well, let's be realistic here. They did play the Raiders, and we can all agree the Raiders are not that good. I know they've been on a hot streak recently of
You know what they are
winning
good at?
games.
They're
What
good at blowing leads.
the
It is
Raiders?
incredible.
Yeah, most definitely. But as a Baker fan, I'm rooting for him all the way. I don't care what number he's wearing. I don't care what team he's playing for. I just want to see this dude do good because when he does good, he gets a hothead, and when he has a hothead, it is fun to watch him. It's insane the things he does when he's got a hothead. That last or that 98-yard game-winning drive was insane. Yeah, he kind of almost threw or pretty much threw a pick, but got called back, and the rest is history. Rams won the game.
Just back on that video of talking about the free agent signing, you and I, Braden, were saying we think Mayfield will still have some sort of success in the league.
Mm-hmm.
And Connor's like, really? Or QB coach, wizard, Sean McVay. I just hope it lasts, man. It's
Yeah, I
fun.
do. I honestly want to see this experiment extend into next season. That would be amazing. I know they have Stafford under contract and all the shenanigans. They gave up 3 first-round picks and whatnot, but I'd,
Yeah,
I'd actually like to see Baker Mayfield be the starter.
me too.
There is speculation out there. So we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. Last week, Matt Stafford's been beat up. Just he's played through a lot of injuries in his career, and with the surgery he's gonna have now, they're gonna have to surgically repair his elbow and hope that'll do the trick just so he can play again. Mrs. Stafford has a Twitter account, and from those that I listen to and follow closely, I have heard that Mrs. Stafford wants him to hang it up after the year. So whether that happens or not, I'm not sure. But if it does, I think it's almost certain to say that Baker Mayfield will still be a Ram.
Let's hope she's as good as or better persuading than Tom Brady's ex-wife.
Yeah.
So say they do sign him in the offseason, Baker Mayfield I'm talking about. How long? What are you thinking? Like 1-2 year deal, similar to Jameis Winston's?
Yeah, that's a fair.
I think you still give him another 1 year prove it deal. I think you give him $6 million or so to be your quarterback because there is a possibility he could crash the plane again and oh no, we're looking for another quarterback
I know,
come April 2024.
but when you got a guru like McVay who is enthused by having Baker on his team, like he's got a quarterback that he can almost like rebuild. Or I don't know about rebuilding, but he feels like there's this chemistry that he can work with in the league. And if McVay has that feeling, then I mean, heck, the sky's the limit. You could go anywhere. It's all what the coach thinks and has in his arsenal to feel comfortable with.
Yeah, I don't doubt the McVay thing, but again, something we had talked about is whether he'd still be there or not next year. He could also retire and go work at ESPN or Fox or wherever. But you know, my thought is obviously we saw Sean McVay get the best out of Jared Goff. We've seen him get the best out of Matthew Stafford.
Jared
What?
Goff?
We might not have seen the
Yeah,
best of
Yeah,
Jared
I'm
Goff.
pretty sure Jared Goff is.
he took Jared Goff to a Super Bowl, though. I mean,
I think we're in prime Jared Goff right
Yeah,
now.
we're in prime Jared Goff, Connor. This
But
this
that
is a
would
whole new Jared Goff. This is Jared Goff with the team on his back right now.
okay. Then this would go to prove my point even further. How much can McVay squeeze out of the Baker Mayfield orange?
You know, Connor, I just think there's a lot left that hasn't been shown. I mean, he can Baker, yeah, he doesn't have the resume Stafford does, but you can see he can throw the ball just as good, or maybe not just as good. Referencing from the Browns, but maybe this whole new changing team might turn his career around.
I just realized something here. So the last notable starting quarterbacks for the Rams during the tenure of Sean McVay. So you go Jared Goff. We're not going to count John Wolford or Bryce Perkins. Those guys
Right.
don't count. So Jared Goff, Matthew Stafford, and Baker Mayfield. Notice anything in common with all three of those guys? They're all former first overall picks. I just think that's kind of interesting. I don't know if it really has anything to do with the amount of success that they end up having, but it
Well,
is an interesting thing.
to be fair, one of them did win a Super Bowl,
Yeah,
and that one that won a Super Bowl, his career is going downhill because he is aging, and he's showing because he is hurt right now. So maybe if you take another number one overall pick who is younger, more healthier, you might get the same result. Obviously, not this season because their record is basically taking them out of the picture mathematically. But next season could be a whole different story.
I guess the last two first overall picks have gone to the Super Bowl, haven't necessarily won it, but
Yeah. Good point.
the 16-3 Patriots thing was just weird to me. By the way, I'm curious to get your guys' thoughts on this. Something that I've been thinking about lately. So there's thought out there, or there was at the time, if that pass interference gets called in the NFC Championship and New Orleans makes it to the Super Bowl, that they somehow rail the Patriots. That Patriots defense was good. I don't think the Saints offense was that good to the point where they could have ran all over them.
Yeah, probably not. I mean, this is a whole different story we're talking about, but I agree. I think that Patriots defense would rail them.
Just a thought I had to bring up because
Mm-hmm.
I've been thinking about it.
Yeah. All right. So we move on.
Let's do it.
All right.
So is it my segment now?
Yep.
All right. So what is the pretend teams in the playoffs right now? There are 6 of the 14 teams currently have a negative point differential. This is Tennessee with negative 35, New York Giants negative 33, Tampa Bay Bucks 30, LA Chargers 31, Washington Commanders negative 3, and the Minnesota Vikings negative 1. Who's the pretend playoff team? Or multiple?
Two I have in mind. I don't know how the Commanders are in the picture. I don't mind the Commanders as a team. I mean, franchise. We all know the story. You don't want to be a part of that organization. But as a team, yeah, I don't think they're a playoff caliber team.
Not
Tampa
even
Bay
close.
Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I mean that conference is horrible. We all know that. The Bucks may have the better record in the conference, but I mean they are not playing up to par at all. So they're out. I'm not going to count the Vikings out. I think I'm going to give them a couple. I'm going to give them a couple more weeks. I know I talked about last episode. They need to change this defense right now. I'm going to give them a couple more weeks to figure out what's going on in that defense, and then I may count them as a fake team. But I need to see the Giants because they started off hot this season, but that last game against Philadelphia was horrendous.
Yeah.
There's no reason it should be that high of a score. I know the Eagles, you could count them to be a better team than the Giants, but it's a divisional game. And in divisional games, you need to keep them close. And it wasn't even prime time, it was during the day. You need to
Was
keep
it
those
in New
games
York
close.
too?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yikes.
Yeah, that was oh. And okay, I will give them this. They were fighting back a little bit. I think it was like I forgot what the score was. I think it was about what was it? 30 something to 14 or whatever. They were fighting back. I think it was like a 2-score game at one point, and then all of a sudden the Eagles just pulled away, and eventually the Giants just couldn't keep up.
So I'll give my teams. Braden, you just gave two. I'm going to give two from each conference. I could sit here and poke fun and throw darts at the Buccaneers, but I don't think that's really the best use of anybody's time because everybody knows that they don't belong. So I am going to start off here with Dallas. At the beginning of the year, well, coming into the season, I didn't think Dallas was going to be very good. They've had a great amount of success rather in the regular season. I said after they had lost week 1 to the Buccaneers with Dak Prescott going down, I didn't think that they had any chance. I thought they were going to be picking top 5 in the draft after that. Clearly, I was wrong. But it just feels like at some point we're going to have the Dallas meltdown that we typically get in the playoffs. And for my other NFC team, pains me to say this, I think the Vikings might be the pretenders here. Now, recently, they've been the underdogs in a couple games. Dallas at home, Detroit on the road. Both games, it didn't make any sense for them to be underdogs going in. The first game, I said, ha, Dallas favorites on the road against the Vikings. What are you doing here, Vegas? Vegas was right. So going into that Lions game, I told Riley, I don't remember if I said it on here or not. I said the Lions are going to win this football game because they are favored. Last time the Vikings were favored to lose, or underdogs rather. They did. So that's what I thought was going to happen. That's exactly what happened. So I'm going to say the two pretenders from the NFC, Dallas Cowboys, Minnesota Vikings. Let's go to the AFC here. Two teams I can easily pick on here: Tennessee Titans and Baltimore Ravens. Tennessee Titans, let's just be honest, they're lucky they're in a bad division, but they don't impress me in any way at all. They just fired their GM. Not that that necessarily has a whole lot of influence on what's going on right now, but it just doesn't really seem like they've been a scary team at all. Frankly, I wouldn't be scared of them at all if I was any team. The Ravens, on the other hand, I think Cincinnati's the better team. I think Cincinnati should win this division, whether they do or not. It's up to them. But I think Baltimore is just not as good. I mean, who do they have playing receiver for them? It's Devin Duvernay, and
Demarcus
then
Robinson.
yeah, and then Mark Andrews has been basically non-existent for quite a while. They can run the ball. They run the ball all over any team that they face, really. But you face a team with a good run stuffing defense, and I say good luck to you. So just to recap there, Ravens and Titans in the AFC, Vikings and Cowboys in the NFC. Those are the four teams that I view as pretenders. They still could be contenders. Don't get me wrong. There's no playoff teams, but I think that they are not as good as their records say they are at this point.
So out of the list of teams with a negative differential, Tennessee, New York Giants, LA Chargers, Bucks, Commanders, and Vikings, who do you think is the best?
Hmm. The Vikings are on that list, right? Did you say the Vikings? I feel like the Vikings are probably the best on that list. Granted, they don't have, they still have the best record and everything, so it's easy to pick them. I'm tempted to say them. Like I just talked about Tennessee. Yeah, Tennessee has a significant disadvantage. Giants don't scare me at all. Chargers, what are they? Buccaneers, see you later. And I don't know. It's probably between the Vikings and Commanders. I'm more susceptible to taking the Vikings in this situation.
Now I know this team is the highest on the list. I'm gonna say the Titans are the best on this list. And I mean, just watching a few games, like if you get Derrick Henry healthy, I say like anything's possible. My expectations for them in the playoffs are about, I think they were a one and done from the bye week, but they won't have the bye. So say they won their first game. That's what I would expect. But I mean, Traylon Burks is emerging in that offense. It looks like they probably the best from that list. I'm not super high on them to win the entire thing, of course, but
So 2 game oh, go ahead, Braden.
I'm not either, for obvious reasons. But I want to go back to Connor on the Vikings in Vegas talk. I know the Vikings haven't been favored to win a lot, and Vegas has been right. For the past couple of games, they've been losing. This week, they're only projected to win by 4
I think that's a
against the
very fair
Colts.
line.
What's that?
I think that's a very fair line.
You think so?
I do.
I think that's ridiculous. But I could also see it happening.
So both of you, if you were to set the line for this game, what would you set it at?
well, you get 3 if you're at home, right?
I think it's more of 1.5 now. I think they adjusted it to 1.5.
Oh, okay. Probably where it is then, I guess.
Do you think just because they lost has any part to do with that?
I don't
I-
think so.
I think it is slightly.
I just think it's because they've been playing so many close games. It's just how can you see them, really rising above that? So I do think. What'd you say it is? It's 4. So
Yeah.
yeah. So I think they cover it for sure. Um, I'm gonna say off the top of my head they win by exactly 8 points. So Colts, their offense sputters a little bit with Matt Ryan because he kind of likes to throw the ball to the other team.
Yeah.
But
That's
I'm gonna say this game ends up being 28-20. Vikings win. We're actually all 3 of us are going to this game, so that'll be fun. We get to experience it in person. But yeah, I feel like 8 is the right amount. But yeah, the spread overall. I guess if I was setting the line, I'd set the Vikings at 6.5.
I put them at 7, but yeah, I basically agree with you.
Yeah, so I don't think it's crazy out there. I mean, it's not like they're 1 point favorites or anything, but yeah.
So, Connor, you said a couple previous episodes ago Trevor Lawrence was Diet Andrew Luck. Then a couple episodes later, you decide to say Trevor Lawrence was Andrew Luck. Now, after this past weekend, what do you think about him? Is he Diet Andrew Luck? Is he Andrew Luck? Or is he better than Andrew Luck? He was 30 for 42 and 3 touchdowns.
I think he's getting there. I think I need to see another season of him to say he is Andrew Luck, but it's an Andrew Luck type stat line. I mean, not throwing many picks, a lot of touchdowns, a lot of yards.
No picks since week 9, by the way.
Yeah.
This is what we've been wanting.
The
This is
consistency.
awesome.
The consistency is the big thing.
Yes.
And he's beating the Titans. Fun
Right.
fact, Andrew Luck never lost a game to the Tennessee Titans.
Not only did they beat the Titans, they beat them over the head, knocked them out. And they won by 14
Yeah.
after just getting spanked by the Lions the week before. So good for Trevor Lawrence. Good for Doug Peterson, frankly, too.
I feel like this Jacksonville team is kind of gonna be like the San Francisco team. I don't remember how many years ago when they traded for Garoppolo late in the season or right before the deadline, and they ended up winning 7 straight games to end the season. I feel like that's the type of team that we see here.
Yeah.
They're scrappy for sure. if I was to make my picks for next season, which of course I've already been thinking about because why not?
Why
I think
not?
I think Jacksonville would probably be the favorite to win the South.
Like Connor says, like, share, subscribe, tell all your folks. We're on all platforms, and we will see you later.